make this video for a while, but it's something that really needs to be said, is that the weird millennial mindset that the Super Mario movies are failing or that they're not great is completely devoid of reality. You know, I went ahead and rewatched the original movie again, not the 1990s one, the new one, the new one from 2023, the animated movie. You know, I watched that like during my power outage, and it really dawned on me just how good this movie actually is, because it takes all of the aspects from Mario, throws them into a blender, and creates this really fast-paced adventure. I feel like a lot of people have this mindset that, like, oh, the movie isn't funny enough, or that the pace is too fast, but what they're really underestimating, like, the appeal of these movies. The fact of the matter is, these are the best adventure movies out there right now, period. Like, nothing takes you through so many locations, fighting so many enemies, meeting so many characters than these films. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent, like, as we see more trailers from Mario Galaxy, you know, as we see, like, the Toastaritas, as we see, like, Yoshi, you know, they go to the Lost Kingdom, fight the T-Rex, you know, we see so many aspects of these games just creatively utilized in these movies. But millennials are doing that thing where they're like, well, this isn't a straight adaptation, or that Peach needs to be kidnapped, or that, like, there's all this stuff that doesn't need to be there. You know, like DarkSydePhil talked about this, where he's sitting there and he's like, these movies need to be generational. They need to appeal to adults. And hey, genius, there's nothing weird about this adaptation. You're the problem, okay? You can't look at something like this and do this thing where you're like, it's not exactly like the video game, so clearly they didn't have the fans in mind. No, the fans are happy. You know, the real fans love these movies. The issue is a lot of these posers, fake fans, are desperately trying to downplay these films to, like, push an agenda. You know, whether it's Angry Joe or Phil or, like any one of these people. Like, these guys are very, very desperate to keep up the illusion that Super Mario is not a major cultural brand and an icon. You know, these guys will, like, scream about Marvel, DC, Warhammer 40K, Spider-Man, like, any one of these, like, slot Western brands until they're blue in the face. But when it comes to Mario, they do this stupid things like, what are ninjas doing there? They weren't in Super Mario Galaxy. What I wanted was a Super Mario World. Like, you know, come on. Absolutely ridiculous. It is bizarre going into this movie knowing that it's going to outperform Hoppers. It's probably going to outperform Toy Story 5. It's probably going to be the biggest animated film of the year. And seeing people do this thing where they're, like, concern trolling about it. You know, like, talking about the tone, about how it misrepresents the characters, talking about, like, trying to say it's, like, disappointing or that it doesn't appeal to longtime fans. Like, it just isn't true. And like, I do need to come out here right now is like, yeah, this is better than the Spider-Man movies. This is better than, like, X-Men. This is better than, like, any Superman film. This is better than, like, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. You know, like, there are no major film franchises that are better than this. And I think that's going to become more and more apparent with each of these sequels, in which, unlike with other franchise films, where it's the same thing over and over again, looking at you, MCU, the Mario movies seem to actually be willing to take risks, innovate, and do things wildly unexpected. You know, case in point, putting Pikmin in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, for someone like DSP, this is something out of left field. This isn't something they would want. This is something where they're just like, oh no, this was supposed to be about a Mario. But, like, to actual fans, this is a huge deal. Because, you know, it's putting Pikmin where they need to be, it's promoting the characters, and it's building up the brand to be a major Nintendo IP going forward. And it's very, very interesting to see, like, Pikmin's rapid growth over the past 25 years. Because if you're in my age group, you knew when this came out on the GameCube, the narrative was that, like, this is, what do you mean? I want a time limit. I want to take my time. I don't want to be challenged. Like, you know, Like, we went through that process, right? You know, I knew people who would rather play Grand Theft Auto than Pikmin because, like, well, like, I'm gonna grow up to be a gangster, so Grand Theft Auto is gonna be good practice for me. I'm gonna learn valuable life skills, and I'm gonna have sex with bitches in game, and I'm gonna kill all those pigs. Like, oh, I'm so cool and badass. Like, you know, like, we saw this over and over again while Pikmin, like, was first introduced. You know, Pikmin was the flagship new IP for the GameCube. It was completely written off and ignored. People were bitching about not getting a new 3D Mario game. Like, what do you mean we get a Luigi game instead? You know, like, Pikmin was downplayed by the masses when it first came out. So the fact of the matter is, Nintendo's built up the brand over a series of entries and are now introducing it into the Mario movie to more widely promote it. Like, it is very possible that Nintendo has decided that they're going to try and make Pikmin, like, a globally popular brand. You know, like, traditionally, like, Pikmin was seen as this thing that was only popular in Japan and maybe France, but, like, the simple fact of the matter is, this movie is going to get a lot of people to realize just how popular the IP actually is. And I think it's going to lead to a massive burst of relevancy for the franchise. Like, this is something that people like Phil don't understand, is that Nintendo's momentum is, like, unstoppable at this point. Like, you can say all you want about how, like, well, I don't like the tone of these movies. Like, it's not going to stop them being successful. You know, you can, like, post whatever, like, movie opinion hot take all you want. Like, I would argue the Super Mario Galaxy movie is going to be bigger than everything at the Oscars combined. Okay, nobody watches these movies. Nobody cares about them. Like, Ben Stiller is in grocery stores trying to sell his knockoff soda brand and failing. He has, like, less than 1,000 subs on Twitter. Like, I have more subs than Ben Stiller. Okay, I am more relevant than a Hollywood A-lister. That's just the reality of it. Like, Hollywood's done. Okay, nobody cares about these actors. Nobody knows who Quentin Tarantino is. Like, nobody knows who Superman is. Like, nobody can name any of the characters or the franchises, the directors, or, like, the major film production companies. Nobody knows the difference between Disney and, like, I don't know, like DreamWorks. Like, they're all the same thing. Like, they all employ the same people. They all push the same agendas. They all refuse to produce good movies, okay? And that is what's coming back to bite them, you know? When I think of, like, you know, something like, you know, Inside Out, or when I look at, like, Coco, what you get is something that's weirdly childish in its, like, presentation of the world, okay? What you get is, like, some stupid situation, you know, some contrived thing of just like, oh no, my parents don't like me. Oh, they don't want me playing music. And then, like, you go through, like, you know, one life-changing event, and then everything's fine. You know, there's no real, like, weight to it. There's no gravitas. There's no, like, realistic, like, conclusion. Like, it is just lazy and stupid. It's just, like, the reality behind, like, all these Disney Pixar movies. The Mario movie has real stakes. You know, the Mario movie has, like, Super Mario becoming a man. You know, taking on the job, trying to please his father, you know, getting the girl, going on this crazy adventure, beating the bad guys. Like, it's so much better than anything we've gotten out of Hollywood. Legit, probably ever. And that's something that I do think we do kind of have to emphasize, is that, like, these movies are probably the most based movies being produced today. And I hope that feeling extends to the Zelda movie as well, but we're going to have to see about that one. But I don't think there's any denying that the Mario movies are going to continue to be a trendsetter going forward, and there's just not really all that much that people like DarkSydePhil can do to downplay that.